I'm feeling really loved right now because you sit down and you listen to me. And so I want to listen to you. But there was that disconnect because she wasn't listening to what her husband needed.
Hey everyone, welcome again to another episode of Decoding Dating. My name is Evelyn and I'm a matchmaker and also the founder of Love Circle, a single community. And I'm always excited to be here. And I'm here with.
My name is Adam Melnick. I'm a licensed coach with the International Coaching Federation with over a decade of experience in mental health and addictions. What are we talking about, Evelyn?
Oh, I just think I need to share this story. I was actually talking to my friend today, and she shared a story that actually happened to someone very, very close to her. She said, this lady, she's been dating this guy for about 4 years. Like she knows his family. They actually started living together at a point, and the guy told her that he needed to go on a vacation or something like that. And he went, I think it's about 2 weeks, and she was just going through Instagram. She was communicating with the guy as usual, going through Instagram, and she got a picture sent to her by one of her friend of this guy getting married, and she was in total shock. Like she didn't even see it coming at all. And and this is actually why we are this is what we're actually decoding today. Love. We're talking about love today. And Adam, let me just start here. What do you think makes so many people actually confuse connection with, or chemistry with real love?
With chemistry with true love. Well, when it comes to love, it's always interesting because when I talk to individuals about what is love, for example, is love a feeling or is it a choice? When I listen to the younger generation, they always say love is a feeling, something that you feel. When I talk to the older generations or people that are in their 30s, they always say love is a choice. And what I think people are kind of getting confused when it comes to love is so one, it is a choice. You have to choose to love somebody. But on top of that, many individuals are kind of maybe missing a intimacy or emotional connection with the people around them. And so what's happening is when they receive even the smallest bit of connection or intimacy from somebody, they immediately think, oh, they like me. And then they're choosing to fall in love with that individual.
Hmm. I think that's very interesting. Like, yeah, and I could see why the confusion is there. Like you said, you mentioned about how people lack love, like in their life. Maybe they are not being the affection or the display of love in their family is not there, or some people were even abandoned, abused. So when I get to see someone actually express a little bit of love, they are like, oh my god, excited, and they just go right in without actually doing the work and trying to understand, know the person and all that. And that's really crazy. I've seen situations where a guy would just say, oh, you're so beautiful, and the girl is like, oh my god, right? I remember one time I was in a store, and I like to always compliment people, and there's this guy, had lovely hair and all, and I was like, oh my god, you have really nice hair. And I was like, why? I was smiling. I was like, oh, that's great. I like to, at least he's happy. I made him smile. But the next thing is like, oh, can I have your number? Can I do this? Can I do that? I'm like, oh, and I think that's what a lot of people experience when they get that, care or, compliment. They kind of just think, oh, he likes me. And that can be so confusing, right, Adam?
Oh, absolutely. I think the rule of thumb is usually you have to be careful with compliments when it comes to the opposite sex because you don't know what frame of mind they're in. And unfortunately, we live in a society where people can't distinguish when you're trying to be nice versus when you're flirting with them. And I've noticed this myself. I was talking to a woman and I complimented her. I was like, oh, that's a very nice shirt that you have. And she thought I was flirting with her and immediately was getting into, sorry, I have a boyfriend. I'm like, I apologize. I was just trying to give you a compliment. Nothing more than that. I'm also already seeing somebody, but I can appreciate that. And the fact that she just jumped into that as opposed to just saying, oh, thank you. I like this shirt says a lot about how we view compliments or just treating the opposite sex with any form of just compassion in a weird way.
Yeah, I think it's always like I think it's crazy because I grew up actually. I like to compliment people. Even I could be walking on the street and I see a girl well dressed. I would say, "Oh my God, you look lovely." It's just so unfortunate that I don't know where that is coming from. It's just that protection. Like, let me just protect myself from you, because most of the time, a lot of people come or compliment you from with an agenda. Basically, they are trying to create a type of conversation before they actually proceed into what they really want. And so people are like, you know what, before you even go there, let me just protect myself from you and just avoid the trouble. And it's crazy, but that's what is happening a lot out there. There's always people are saying something because they're trying to get something back from you. They're not really saying out of real intention, like I just want to compliment you type of thing. It's more like I just want to talk to you. I want to get through you with this comment type of thing.
Well, and I noticed this even in my own life. When I had a woman come up to me and she complimented me, and the first thought I thought was, "What do you want? Like, what are you trying to get from me?" But again, I think this is just in our society when people are approaching us and they give us a compliment, it's not that they're just giving a compliment. There's often this hidden agenda
Mm-hmm.
which puts people's defenses up. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to love itself, oftentimes I think people mistaken love for maybe compatibility or maybe someone just genuinely being nice because they don't have, they're not loved in their life. Maybe they're missing that intimacy. Maybe they're touch starved. And just having somebody just come into their life and even just feel that their love meter even 0.5% is enough that they're just like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
not true love, but it's something.
yeah, I was actually watching this series called Nashville, and there was this superstar. She is, very talented and all, but I really felt bad for that character that she played, because that's not who she is. Is the fact that whenever any guy get close to her and they start just being nice to her, she feels like she has to just give in and just have sex. And I'm like, and the guys would be like, oh, some guys would say, oh no, this is just who I am, And she's like, nobody has ever been just nice to me. They always want something in return. And that is so sad that she was doing all this thing but very empty inside, trying to fill all this void. But it's so unfortunate, but I see that is why a lot of people also fall victim of love, right? Because a lot of people out there, let me talk from the perspective of a woman, a lot of men also take advantage of vulnerable women. So, like, a lot of men, some men actually like weak women. So they know when you are struggling, they know that is when it is easy to manipulate you. That is when they will come to kind of make you feel like they are the savior. They're gonna save you from your issues and problem, and they start throwing some things that, because they're gonna ask you all this question, what makes you feel loved and others, and they start asking all these role. And then unfortunately, when you just let your guard down, they get in and you're disappointed. So it's unfortunate that those type of things actually going on.
Well, it's funny you say that because oftentimes when I make TikToks, especially about men, the women in my comments are vicious towards men, absolutely vicious. Borderline, I would say that they hate men. And the comments I hear is, the only reason a man would be nice to you is to get in your pants. You can never be a friends with a man because all he wants to do is take advantage of you. And that's a shame because there's so many men out there that that's not what they're interested in. But I think we have to recognize that we are in an ocean and there are sharks in that ocean. There are predators amongst women, and I've met them, and there are predator amongst the men, and I've also met those. It's just how it is.
I think it's how it is, but yeah, unfortunately, there are people that are angry, and there are people that are, you know, just saying all these different narrative about men. I used to make TikTok live. Like, I see different type of people, and it's so interesting. Like, I would see a man that would be so angry about women just because he had a very bad experience, and unfortunately, there are also a lot of men that relate to what he's saying. And I've seen women that are so angry at men, and everything that comes from their mouth is just so negative about men. And the truth is, and the funny thing that this type of negative kind of media, if I call it, it's actually very popular because a lot of people like to relate with negativity more than positivity, actually. So it's unfortunate, but that is what a lot of women or younger women are actually learning from social media. Right now, I think it's even difficult to see love because a lot of people are, there's just this toxic love out there right now.
Yeah, there's a ton of toxic love. Arguably, I meet a lot of individuals that hate the opposite sex, but they hate them, but they want them. Like a part of them wants to be loved by the opposite sex. And how I know that's true is because they keep hyper fixating on the opposite sex. They keep talking about how awful men are or how awful women are. And the reality is, if they truly hated the opposite sex, if they really didn't like them, they would completely ignore them because they'd be
Mhm,
irrelevant to the conversation.
mhm,
But because they're hyper fixating, they keep bringing them up again and again and again. And the sad part is these individuals, because they want that love, they will enter into a toxic relationship because they want it. They want to feel that love, but because of their viewpoints, they're going to turn the relationship toxic, which unfortunately is going to cause damage to the opposite sex, causing an even bigger problem in the dating pool. Ugh.
mm. Yeah, it's crazy. I like you talked about the fact that some people would just because they just want to feel loved, they would not care, and they would not. So the person is toxic, but they will still actually go into it, and that comes to, and that's kind of great. And I think I have this question: why? It's like, why do people still like stay or go into relationship knowing that this person doesn't even love them, knowing that this person doesn't care, knowing that it's even situationship type of thing, and they still stay. Like, what are they hoping to get from that?
Well, but it's a basic need. Like love is a basic need. If you are a human on this planet, you need love, you crave love, and you would rather have maybe a droplet of love than to have nothing at all. And so it's this weird thing. Like when I talk to people about why they're in these relationships, they talk about being in a desert and thirsty for water. And sure, this person's not very good for them. Sure, it's kind of toxic. However, they give them a drop of water when they are thirsty. And because of that, they would rather stay than stay thirsty.
That's so crazy. So if you're out there, I would say I'd rather be single than to be in a toxic relationship because I think if it's just you and the person is something, as much as it's going to ruin your mental health, it's also if you now start bringing children into the world in that type of environment, it's actually creating like this. Oh, I call it generational trauma because this now has to continue from someone that you're angry and there's this toxic dynamic in your home, and then you take it going in, you're transferring that to your child, and that continues, that pattern continues its own. It's pretty sad. So I'm like, how do you differentiate true love from you know fake love? It's called fake love. Especially for people that don't know. Well, that
Well,
is,
I know, like, there's different types of love. Like, let's be honest.
yeah.
There's the love between a mother and their child. There's a love between myself and my brother. There's a love between me and my friends. There's all these different loves. And so when I talk to people about dating, we're talking about romantic love. And when I see romantic love and I have these conversations about romantic love, there is a choice aspect. It's like, I am choosing you. No matter what happens, I'm going to choose you. But also, there is a level of intimacy where I'm trying to get to know you on a very intimate level and trying to fill that intimate level gas tank, that meter, because you matter a lot to me. I want you to be happy. And so I'm going to try to speak to your love language. But then there's also a third aspect, which is unconditional acceptance. We are accepting that this person is flawed. We accept that they might be a little bit screwed up, but we are accepting them for who they are. And we're not trying to change them. We're not trying to tell them that they could be better. It is, I like you who you are now, and I am choosing to love you. And that's kind of what I see when we talk about romantic love.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I remember I was on this podcast and we asked the question, does unconditional love exist? And I will tell you, I believe I was the only one that believed in unconditional love. Everybody
Okay,
were
what did
like,
you got to tell me? What did they say?
no, everyone said there is nothing like unconditional love. That it's only that love can only come from God, or something closest to that is the love between a mother, and the child. And they said because everybody loves someone conditionally. There's a reason why you love them. There's a reason why you want to be in their life. It could be because you see a future in this person. It could be because maybe it's from a very rich background. It could be because maybe it's very intelligent. There is something that you are hoping to get from that love. And that is why it's unfortunate when the guy gets broke or the lady is maybe got into an accident and now is disabled or handicapped. Love changes. There is always that change in that love. Some people would break up, some people it's just tense in the house. So it's like there, and that's why we have divorce, because everybody is backing out for one reason or the other. And it was like, there's not true love anymore, at least maybe before, but right now it's not. It doesn't exist. And I was like, oh, that's so sad. I don't think that's correct. I think there is true love. I think there is unconditional love. I was like, but I was the only odd one then in the
But it is sad. It's so depressing to think about because what they're essentially saying is that there's no such thing as love, and this romantic connection that we have is a transaction.
mm-hmm,
Full stop. I am getting something from you, and you are getting something from me. And the minute I stop getting what I want from you, this is no longer a relationship. Like that's a transaction at that point. That's not love. And I've seen people that have true love where the wife gets horribly disfigured and then the man still continues to take care of her. I've seen it where a man loses his job and loses it all and the woman stays with him because it's I chose you and I'm going to be choosing you no matter what. And I'm going to pull you up when you are down. I'm going to take care of you when you're sick because I love you. It's as
mm-hmm.
simple as that.
Hmm. I think the thing is, I feel like the reason why a lot of people say love, there's nothing like unconditional love, is because it is so rare. Like majority of what we see out there are people telling you how to play games with men, how to, not show him, don't show the man that you love him too much, how to delete tests, all those things are all conditions that people are just playing all these different games. And the true love, I've seen a lot of videos and I've seen a lot of people that I've seen that demonstration, that love, that true love, that unconditional love, but it is very, very rare. And most of them are even old people. Most of them are old. And for example, even dating, like, that's why if a girl says, you know what, I don't think I want to have sex anymore, it's a problem. The relationship is probably going to break up at some point, depending. So it is very, very rare.
Well, and I think in regards with that, when it comes to the okay, I'm no longer having sex with you, like it can be viewed as transactional, but there's also a part of it of feeling like at the end of the day, I still need to feel loved and I still need to feel cared for. And just like my partner needs to feel loved and feel cared for. And ultimately, if somebody's intentionally withholding something that their partner needs, that's kind of toxic in a weird way.
Okay, so I'm gonna say. Um, so there are so many things that you could need in a relationship, and without even, it doesn't have to be Sex. There's so many things because, for example, it depends. So the dynamic, it depends. For example, if she is intentional with holding sex from you, yes. I've seen situations where, the guy is not ready or willing to compromise in any way. I've seen a situation whereby the girl is not ready to use condom, is not ready to use anything, but she is the only one sacrificing her body. And first, I know a girl that she goes through, birth control actually destroys her mood. Aside from that, she's always having all different type of pains from this. And with the guy that she's following, the guy does not want to compromise in any way, but still keeps shifting the responsibility to this girl. Now, if this girl comes and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, she has the right 100% to protect herself from a man that is selfish. But it's a man that is very considerate to say, okay, babe, like he's open, it's very, it cares about her, they care about each other. They're always gonna come with a compromise, a way to make it work. But for a selfish man, it is not worth it from both ways to sacrifice yourself for someone that doesn't really care. So you have the right to protect yourself at that point
Well,
in
it's
time.
funny you say that. So, like when you say withholding sex, my brain immediately goes to, is the woman trying to punish the man? Because that's what I hear a lot of in my social circles. And
Mm-hmm.
then to hear that flip side is like, no, absolutely, you're right. At the end of the day, if you're with somebody who is not compromising, not making it work, because they need to be making you feel loved just as
Yeah,
much as you need to be making them feel loved. And if they're not willing to compromise, if they're not willing to work with you, like again, that's not true love.
yeah,
At that point, it's a transaction and an ultimatum. It's like you're either going to do this or you can leave.
yeah. So that's why I'm like, at that point in time, I think one person, you have to protect yourself, and I think, yeah. So and I think that's why it's really important to really not. I'd like to understand because there are crazy people out there and there are selfish lovers out there, and it's at that point in time, instead of keep open and open and open that something would change, it gets to that point where you just have to protect yourself. And it's unfortunate that's what happens a lot because I think there's a question a guy was asking, asked a lady, a guy on the street, those street interviewer, and asked him, do you ever want to get married? And was like, no. He was saying, I said, no, I don't say. I think love is marriage is transactional, and I would rather just have a wife and have my kid, but not go to that route of, marriage is unfortunate because that is what is happening right now, and it's so so sad. It's unfortunate, but that's what's happening.
Well, and it's again that transaction. Like you hear it time and time again. It's transaction, and I hear this with many of the women that I work with. It's the reason why I am looking long term is because I want to get married and I want that status of being a wife. And it's like, but that's a transaction at that point. Are you
Mm-hmm.
looking for love or are you looking for a transaction? Because again, those are different. You don't have to get married and to be in love. Like those are separate things. And if you're looking for love, there's some things that we or criteria that we need to look for in that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get married. In fact, if that is your goal to ultimately get married and be loved, like both can be true at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, so I know we're talking about this. So how does, which is interesting. So, so how does true, like for people that keep, making mistakes and choosing the wrong people, if you want to, as a coach, if you want to really advise them or direct them, or what would you say? How do you think they should be able to identify love, like true love, when they see it? How would they know?
Well, in regards to love, I think it's a slow process. It's always a slow process. Love at first sight, I don't know if it's a thing, to be honest. I've heard arguments that it is a thing. You can fall deeply in love with somebody. I have also heard the argument that when you see somebody and you fall in head over heels for them on the first sight, these are actually just hormones and you're just lusting after them.
Hmm.
I'm not too sure which is true. I do know, however, that when it comes to love, it's usually a slow burn. it's going to be taking
mm,
the place of years, not over the course of a couple of weeks.
mm,
And how I know somebody is madly in love is because, again, they're putting time, money, and energy into the individual. They're thinking about them. They're going out of their way to make them feel good. They're going out of the way to learn about them. They're going out of the way to spend money on them. They're going out of their way to try to make them feel good. It's like, hey, babe, I know you had a hard day. Come sit down on the sofa and let me give you a back massage, or
mm,
something along those lines. Or, hey, I know you've been planning all the dates. Let me plan this date. It's that they're no longer thinking about themselves. They're thinking about the other person. And that's when I usually know that, hey, I think you're in love.
I think I like the way you say it's if they are actually spending time, money, and energy on you, that is when you know that the person is actually does love you. And I think, and it's both ways, right? It's both ways because it can be very exhausting if it's just one sided. And I think sometimes when you see true love, it is very easy to identify. Like you can't even confuse love, like true love. When it's not consistent, then you can be unsure. Like when you start getting to the point where you're feeling very confused, like I don't know what we're doing, what are we? You start having all these questions, confusion. Trust me, then there's something wrong with that love. It's maybe you guys have to talk about it, or it's not balanced. Then there's something wrong. But when it's true love, I feel like you would know with the way they treat you, with the way they speak, they talk to you, with the way they even some people are very quick to even use we, and you said, but when someone is always saying hi, when I have this, when I have money, I will do this. Or what's your future plan? It's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going. I just know you're not included in his life. You're not included in his future. So that's an example of. But I feel like you feel safe, especially from a woman perspective. You feel safe, you feel very sure, you're not confused. There's accountability in that, in your relationship. There is growth. If you're not growing, you're not there's something wrong in that relationship, basically.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone should be always growing. I'm a big fan of personal growth because, that's why I'm a coach. But to kind of come back there in regards with love, there's a saying that I love to tell people, which is love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. Which
Mhm,
means that if you are in love with somebody and you feel like you have to force this every single day, like every day, it's not, sometimes it's kind of hard to choose my partner. It's like that's going to happen, especially if you fall in love with somebody and you've been with them for a couple of decades. Like there are going to be times you're going to fall out of love, and you're just going to have to choose them and fall back in love. But if you're with somebody, especially in the early stages, and it is hard, it is challenging. You are trying to make time for them, but to get them down for a date is not happening. To when you text them, they're not texting you back for a couple of weeks or even a couple of days. It's That's not love. Like you may love them, sure. However, it's clearly not being reciprocated because it shouldn't be forced.
mhm, mhm,
But to
mhm,
add on to that, usually when I see somebody and they're really madly in love, their energy always shifts. They're happy,
mhm.
they're excited, they're elated, they can't stop gushing over their partner. And in a weird way, it's almost like they're glowing.
Mm, And I think that's where the growth aspect comes in. But the thing is, yeah, it's always great when both of you are glowing. It's when both of you feel the same way. It's not that one person is just excited and the one puts in so much effort, and the other person is just not receiving it or even giving anything. So, yeah. Now, so we basically talked about how to identify true love. I kind of also touched on what to look for or how to also identify fake love. um Based on your experience, Adam, like what was it easy growing up to find people expressing true love or fake love, like based on the people that are, surrounding, like family, friends, and
Well, we'll talk about specifically romantic love. So when it comes to romantic love, it's hard. I think it's a lot easier when you're a child and you're in junior high, high school, mostly because nobody has trauma. Nobody really has any baggage. And it's easy to say, oh, well, I like you, so I'm going to choose you. And you're not really thinking about, oh, what do they bring to the table? How much money do they have? Oh, are they good looking or not? Like, you're not really thinking about that because you're in school. You have no money. You have no status. You have nothing. You're children. And so in a weird way, I would argue it's much easier to kind of have that love at an earlier age than it is when you're older because all of a sudden when you get older everyone overcomplicates things. It's like,
Hmm.
again, do they have money? Do they have status? Are they working out? Are they pretty? Do they know how to dress right? And again, it's getting to this idea of it's not really love that you're looking for a transaction.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, I do agree. I think love has kind of changed over time. I think love was easier before. Especially when it was just letter writing. People just you love someone, you write a lovely letter, you mail it down to the person, they see, they smile, they giggle. Now it's different. Now you can't really just send a letter anymore. It's more like bigger gestures, like big flowers, beautiful romantic date nights. And now it's even gone to the point where proposal is now in the picture. That time it's easier. You could A guy could propose to you in front of your family. It's just different. Now it's more like I've seen crazy display of, proposal videos and stuff. And it's even competitive now and then because now people are competing. Who is going to show the biggest expression? Who is going to give the biggest gift? Who is going to People are even gifting cars now. Like, gifting partners can, it's like, oh, people are competing basically. Valentine's Day is coming now. We have a few more months, and a lot of guys can't sleep now because they're already thinking about, some are planning proposals, some are planning surprise getaway. I met in back home in Nigeria. And what happens is a lot of people a lot of guys intentionally will try to create problem before Valentine's Day so they can break up. So they don't have to buy any gifts. So that is so crazy because now the expectation when it comes to love is really, really high. And it's making a lot of people either single, they just want to stay single. Actually, a lot of people are intentionally staying away from love. They just want to be single because they don't
Yeah,
want to
because
go into that trauma.
because it is the expectations around love are just too high. And I love how you kind of touched on this idea that a lot of men want to break up before Valentine's Day. And I sympathize with that unbelievably hard because at the end of the day, I look at Valentine's Day as it's not about me. It's not about me as the man. It's not about celebrating my love or making me feel loved. It's all about making my woman feel loved and making her feel like she has a catch. And in my eyes, that's not love. That's a lot of pressure. That's a ton of pressure. And then to have her then go online to talk about how amazing I was or how shitty I was on Valentine's Day, that's not love. That's a competition.
Yeah, it's crazy because while the guy is planning to break up, the girl is also planning the gift. She's planning, she's telling her friends what she's expecting for Valentine's Day. So it's so crazy. I remember there was a particular I don't know, it's some kind of news that was going on about a footballer that married this lady, and I think he was already suspecting that she was going to maybe one day divorce him, and then he had to every his money, he had to put his money to the mother's name, like basically. So she didn't know they were divorced, and she couldn't get anything because it looks like he does not even have any money. Everything was in his mom's name. And it was crazy because a lot of men were kind of cheering this guy up, like cheering him on, like, oh my God, it's a very smart guy. He made a very great decision, and oh, shaming the lady. And I felt like, wow, when did it get to the point where you cannot actually tell your wife what is going on? Like, you cannot really be transparent about finances, that you're constantly calculating each other.
Well, again, there's that lack of trust. And arguably, I know a lot of men, they view marriage as a very scary thing, like a very scary thing. And the reason why they view it as a scary thing is because they hear tales from other men of these men falling in love with women, they get married to these women, and then these women take everything from them, like everything. And it's gotten to the point that I know men that are giving out advice saying, hey, if you like a girl, honestly, she does not love you and she's just after your money and your success, especially if you're a successful man. It is not within your best interest just to love her. You need to set conditions around these love and protect yourself because she will divorce you and she's going to take half of your stuff that you worked hard on. And that's so depressing to hear. It shouldn't be this way.
It's so so sad. And what is even worse is the fact that a lot of men support that. A lot of men support that. And I remember a lady saying, a guy asked the question, asked the lady, if you win, let's say you win a lottery prize of about 1 million today, and then tomorrow is your wedding, what will you do? You say, I'm gonna get married. It's like, oh really? Yeah, yeah, because I'm gonna put the lottery in my mom's name. Can you imagine? Like, so, so you could see that the thinking, the mindset is crazy. And I just hope that it gets better. I just hope that it gets better because if not, the future is crazy.
Oh, it's going to be depressing. And I think that the advice that men are giving other men, especially, for example, around protecting their finances, makes complete sense. Because again, these men are hearing stories from other men of women essentially cleaning them out, but they're also listening to the rhetoric online. And a lot of the rhetoric is saying he has to have six figures, he has to be rich. And they're essentially saying to men, we love you because you have wealth and money, and I want your wealth and money. And these men are hearing this and they say, oh no, I can get into a relationship with a woman, but she only loves me for my money and she's trying to come after me for my money. As a result, if I want true love or if I want a relationship, I actually need to protect myself to guarantee that once she has access to my finances, she's just not going to run away, which is, again, incredibly depressing to think about.
Yeah, yeah. And I think yeah, I think it's crazy. And I think what I'm seeing that is actually common right now is seeing people going off and showing off, marrying older men. Trophy wife here, trophy wife there, and I'm like, it's interesting because, and they say it like I see TikTok couples where she's basically coaching other ladies how to get a rich man, and I'm like, the man knows that. It's interesting that a lot of people know that the women or the people coming into their life are coming into their life for money, and they are okay with that. And I've seen situations where there are a lot of men today they're looking for girls, ladies that are doing better than them, and they indirectly asking them for money, indirectly using them for money, not love.
It is not love. It is, again, a transaction. And I love that you pointed that out, where these men understand what's happening. Because I was recently talking with a woman, and her opinion is men are dumb, men are stupid. One, that's a very toxic point of view to have, because especially if you're trying to date men, that's just going to be very unhelpful when you get a partner. But on top of that, no, they're not. They're very smart. These men who have a ton of money understand that you're a beautiful woman and you're only there for his money. He's okay with that, which is also why some of these women end up getting stuck in this weird position where they went after a man who has a lot of money. He doesn't love her. He enjoys her looks and her body. And now it's a transaction. You get access to my finances as long as you look pretty. But the thing is, because it's a transaction, he says, if you no longer look pretty and there's someone else that looks prettier, you're
Leave.
out. Like, that's what they're thinking. And they're well aware that these women are only after them for money.
Yeah, and I could see why those women would be intentional about, they'll be strategic with their plans, because some of this, just like the man knows that the women are after them for money, the women also know that the man is after her for a body, and you know that. And so she needs to be very strategic as well, to know that okay, so it's gonna get to a point in time where he's going to find somebody else, but before that happens, let me try to maximize the opportunity that I have right now. And it is crazy. Yeah, we're gonna say, I'm not gonna say that does not even exist in those days. I know there are people that, but at least it was less compared to what it is now. And it is. So we're just gonna say love still exists. Don't give up.
Oh, it absolutely exists. I've seen it
Yes,
happen.
yes.
I
Don't
just
give
think it's more public where relationships are transactional and they're not about love. I
up.
see a lot more relationships being a retirement plan. The
Hmm.
reason I'm dating him is because he will become successful. The reason I am dating her is because she is successful. And it's like, oh, so this is just your plan to get out of working. Got
Hmm.
it. This isn't about love.
I was a
But
girl that, sorry,
go ahead.
there was a girl that at my previous work, and she was like, "Oh, I just found this guy." Like, really? And she was like, is into this type of job. His parents have this money, generational wealth. She started saying all these things, and there was nothing about, oh, I like the way he speaks. He's very kind. He opened the door for me. Whatever those things. She didn't say anything to do with his character, to do with appearance. What she was basically focused on was the fact that this guy is going to bring so much goodness to my life based on the things that he has and who he is, based on status. And I felt like, oh gosh. And I'm not surprised from that girl, because this girl is so cold as a person. Like usually I would say she eats the same food every day. Like I'm not surprised that that could come from her, but I felt bad for him, especially if he thought that he's met this girl that he wants to probably marry or settle down with or do something beautiful with. To see that that is the way he could describe her, like she could describe him, is sad.
Well, and that gets back to that issue of we are in an ocean and there are sharks in that ocean, and she is preying upon him. And unfortunately, it can be confused in those moments because those individuals, they don't love you, but they are filling your love tank, which kind of comes into an interesting topic because when you're in love with somebody, we often want to make the other person feel loved. And I've heard a lot of discussions around the five love languages: acts of
Mm.
service, words of affirmation, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. What are your thoughts around feeling how to make other somebody else feel love, but also around the love languages?
Hmm. I think how to okay, so the love languages are interestingly there, and they are different for different people. So how do you want how for you to make a person feel loved? It's like you have to love them the way they want to be loved. And I'm sure that a lot of people do communicate this. And this is why, you go on dates, you get to know the person, because you are constantly asking them questions to better understand what makes them smile, what makes them feel loved, what places that excite them. So it's the fact is a part of actually paying attention to what matters to them, what makes them smile, what makes them happy, the things you could do that would go, you could, going out of your way just to put that, make them feel special. So basically, that is it. Like basically, on the learning your partner, on like you have to learn, constantly learn about them, and take the time to listen, take the time to actually apply those things that they say, like, but the thing is, I think what I hear, I see a lot of times is people loving people the way they want to be loved, like me loving, that you're very it's you assume that if I do this thing, it's going to blow her mind. No, but she may not actually appreciate things like that. And then you'll be upset that she's not reacting, or she's not excited about that. It's just because what you did is not as meaningful to her as something that she's told you about that makes her feel special. So I think basically, aside from that, some basic things that you would do, that's like being kind, being the way you speak to her, the loving way. Those are things that are lovely to have, to to experience. But the most important thing that makes her feel like behave like a child, like, oh my god, excited about you, is the fact that you are listening and you're doing the things that she wants to. She's excited and she loves. You, a lot of women likes it when she says something and you do, like, she just mentioned that, oh babe, I need to go, I think I need to go just to go get some clothes for the gala I have, blah blah blah, or and she wakes and she gets home from work and she say nice dress, because she's already showed you on her phone the dress that she wants to get, and you actually you took the time to go to the store to get her that beautiful dress. Do you imagine how excited she would be? In fact, you would not have to beg for a lot of things. Like, she would express that love. You will get that love back in multiple fold. So at the end of the day, expressing your love to your loved ones or to your woman romantically, you gain a lot from that. Really. And it's easy to identify. Just listen and just pay attention, and it's.
You have to study your partner. Like, you have to study your partner. I love that you said that, because when I look at relationships, uh, and you said it again, we often we often portray our love and our love languages to our partner. So it's like, my love language is acts of service. So if I love you, I'm going to do things for you. However, that might not be your love language. But if you're listening to me in my actions, you'll understand, oh, that's Adam's love language, which means that if I want him to feel loved, I actually need to start doing things for him. But then my job is to study my partner and listen to their love language. And so I remember working with a girl, and her husband was not feeling loved. And
Mm,
his love language was acts of service. So he was doing all these things. He was taking out the garbage for her. He was making sure dinner was ready. He was driving her to and
mm,
from work, doing all these acts of service. Her love language was quality time. And so he was spending all this time listening to her, but she wasn't doing anything for him. Like, she wasn't cooking meals for him. She wasn't giving him back massages or foot rubs. She wasn't doing things, those acts of service for him. And in her mind, she's like, oh, I feel super loved. And so because I feel loved, I want to spend time with you, and I want to talk to you, and I want to do quality time with you, because I'm feeling really loved right now because you sit down and you listen to me. And so I want to listen to you. But there was that disconnect because she wasn't listening to what her husband needed from that relationship.
mm.
And he was falling out of love.
Yeah, I think what I found interesting, that's which is like I found interesting, is this. You said the guy's um act his love language is act of service. So he's always serving, he's always doing this and supporting and doing that. And she is not. Our own us our own is you said quality time, right? So she likes to spend quality time with him. It's very interesting how I see it. I'm looking at the opposite direction. So now he says, if his own is act of service, it is not her love language. Do you understand? Like, it has to be, if our love language is act of service, then show her that. You know what I'm saying? It's the opposite. Say, and if for the other way, if his love language is quality time, then give him that. So I think that's why a lot of people are not getting right, is you're doing to the person what they want to receive. You're giving them what they want, not giving them what they don't want. And that's where the problem comes in. So if your love language is act of service, you're doing something that is convenient for you. You're not going out of your way. It is what your natural act of service. That is not what she appreciates. That is not what she values. Maybe it is part of it, but not what would make her feel. Maybe it's gift. Maybe it is other love languages, but it is basically you're serving each other. So you're focused on what she wants. It's not like demonstrating your own love language. It means
Well,
something to you.
and that's why there was such a disconnect in the relationship because
Yeah.
his was acts of service. So he's doing all these acts of service for her, and hers was quality time. So in his mind, he was always taught, well, if your woman wants to talk, you need to listen to her. So he was inadvertently, he wasn't consciously doing this. He was inadvertently fulfilling her love language because she wanted to talk. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime she wanted to talk, he was available. But the issue being is that she wasn't inadvertently filling his love language and doing
Mm-hmm.
acts of service. So it got to this weird dynamic where she felt, oh yeah, my relationship's really good. I feel like there's a very loving relationship. And in talking with him, he goes, I do all these things for her. I listen to her. I cook for her. I take out the garbage. And what do I get in return? Nothing.
Hmm. It's great. I see a lot of men actually struggling a lot, and it also goes to the point, women are very expressive. We are very good at saying what we want. We are very emotional. We would cry if we have to, for you to get what we're saying. There's no way a man would say at some point, I don't know what she wants or I don't know what she likes because she's cried about it, she's screamed about it, she's written notes about it, she's reported you about it. But the thing is, I think some men, because also they want to be strong, they want to be that, man of the home, and they want to just take all the responsibilities or just hide their feelings, or they don't want to be vulnerable, and then the woman would maybe assume that it's fine, it's okay because he says it's okay, but deep down he has this empty void that he wishes his wife could feel for him or his girlfriend, but he's not communicating it, maybe in a way that she would receive it or she understands it. Or maybe she's also someone that don't want to listen. Some people don't like to listen, and is saying this thing in many different ways, but she's not really listening. And that's so unfortunate because that happens a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I was recently talking with somebody, and in talking with them, they listen to a lot of dating podcasts. They listen to a lot of relationship stuff. And so they had a belief that they understood people better than they actually did,
Hmm.
which was very problematic. And so when they got into a relationship, she couldn't fathom that maybe she was missing something because she was educated, she was smart, she was constantly learning, and it was an overconfidence bias kind of going on. And in talking with her, is like, no, you're very painfully missing something. But because you have this fundamental belief that you are smarter, you're more educated, you have a higher emotional intelligence, it never occurred that, hey, I'm missing something. And I see this with men too. Some men just think, hey, you know, I know this all. And it never occurs to them, hey, you're missing something. It's like I hear this with, oh, I've been with my wife for a decade to 2 decades. I know everything about her. I know her in and out. She would never do ABC. And it
Hmm.
never occurs to them in their wildest dreams that, hey, maybe you're missing something because you've created a blind spot.
Hmm.
And then they're shocked when things start falling apart.
Yeah, it's so crazy that it's scary that these days I've actually seen older couple divorce, like people married for 40 years, 45 years, actually divorce. I remember when I went to travel down to Cameroon, and there's this particular one. She keeps telling this husband, "Please take me to a restaurant. Please take me to a restaurant." Not that she couldn't afford it. Yeah, she can, but she just wanted her man to do those things for her. He couldn't. He knows that she would love it, but intentionally he refused to. Till it, I don't know if he did that eventually, but she was not even hiding the fact that she wanted to. And the guy was not ready. But you know why? Because he knows that she can't go anywhere. He knows that whatever, she's not gonna go anywhere. She's not going who's gonna marry her after all this or whatever. And he's right because she was not ready to go anywhere. But she felt like, I just wish this man could just do this thing for me. And it's like, and I'm sure she got to the point where I've been asking for so many years. If he doesn't do it, that's fine as well. And I don't know if I would say now that women are not settling anymore. Like, if you can't really take me serious, I don't care the age, they are going out of the marriage.
Yeah, because when we look at a relationship, one of the things I've noticed is the average individual, whether it's a man or a woman, has everything that they need within their life. Most people are very happy being single. They have a job, they have all their creature comforts, they can travel, they have friends. They're quite happy with their life. And so when they're looking at a potential partner, they're not so much looking at love at the beginning and more they're looking at what can you contribute to my life? What can you make my life better than it already is? If the answer is no, then they walk away. It's like, I already go on vacations. Can you join me on a vacation and make my vacation better? And if you can't, I'm not interested. And so now when we look at the dating scene, the biggest question is always value. Like I hear the conversation of like the table. What do you bring to the table? And that's what they're saying. They're saying, I'm happy with what I am today. Are you going to add more to my life? Or is my life just going to be staying the same? And again, it's a transaction of relationships of I want somebody that is going to give me more than what I already have.
Hmm. It gets, I think I need to ask this question. So now you give an example of a lady saying, she has everything together, she's doing well already, and she wants to make sure, she wants to know that the person coming to her life is adding value, is making her life better, is growth. Do you think that's the wrong way to think?
Yes,
Like, why would you date
absolutely.
someone? Why would you date someone or marry someone that there's no value?
Well, in regards with value, so you got to get into like what the hell does value even mean and get into it with the individual. And that's where usually where we come to standards and whatnot. When it comes to dating, the reason why you're dating is because you're trying to fill a need. Like you want to be loved, you want to feel happy. And that just by just association makes your life better. It adds value to your life. But when I listen to people talk about value, they're not talking about that. They're talking about beyond that. They're usually talking about like materialistic wealth. What are your thoughts?
Hmm. I think majority, yes, but I think, oh, because as a matchmaker too, when I talking to my client, what I'm asking is integ. So what I see when I ask about value, they're talking about integrity, they're talking
Oh,
about honesty, they're talking about a family oriented person. Basically, I'll tell you the truth, like majority of the time, that is what I'm hearing. And I think that is also from a lot of people that they've also experienced life and they've also dated, they've experienced breakup at break, and now they understand what really, really matters. Now, when it comes to the younger people or people that, they're just there to just spread the negative, idea about men or women, then they might focus on material, because that is what they can give. That is all they can give, right? So, I because some people are so like they don't have much to give than money, or they don't have what to give than their physique, their body. Some people are just like that. But some people that have, they know that they have more substance and they're looking for something more meaningful. They tend to, ask for deeper things, values. So they have deeper values and they expect that from their partner, because I think that is very important, to than, but unfortunately, um I would say depending on experiences, that's what I see. Younger people are more like, oh, he has to have money, he has to have this, or they've been hurt, or they've got through heartbreaks and they're sad of that, and they now kind of hate men or women, and they just kind of push it to material. Yeah. So that's my own experience based on my, you know.
but I love that you said that because I argue that you should always be looking at somebody's value, their core values specifically. But when I listen to some people talk about, oh, they need to add more to my life, they need to add value to my life.
Mhm.
When I am curious and I probe into it, it's monetary wealth, it is vacations, it is making their life better than what it currently is in some way, shape, or form. And again, it kind of gets into this idea of like, you need to define what a value is. Like, what does it mean to provide value to somebody? What does it mean to have extra added value to your life? And so I always come from a point of view of, well, no, you shouldn't be looking to have somebody provide extra value to your life, because they'll naturally provide value to you as long as you both love each other and are willing to make this work. Maybe that's a naive point of view.
Yeah, I think that's it's a like innocent way to look at it, because like that should be the way it should be, right? But I think as we get to know that what keeps a relationship and marriage is beyond, it's more than that. Like it's more like alignment has to be in place, and that is what actually keeps the relationship last longer. And alignment to even financial alignment is important as well, no matter how we look at it, because there's a lot of divorce that actually happen because when there is not, when we don't have, when the money is not there, it's difficult. Even to love is difficult. So if you, so those things can actually strain the relationship and all. And we want to make sure that okay, the person is honest, integrity is there, the family oriented. There are all these beautiful things, qualities that you value. They also value something, not exactly, but something similar. So yeah.
I love what you said, and it
Yeah.
is about alignment, and it's that choice part. You're
Yeah.
choosing the other person. You want to be with them, and it's not walking away from somebody because times are a little hard. It's making it work. As long, I always asterisk, as long as they are willing to make it work with you, why shouldn't it work out?
Right. Right. So, Adam, I think it's a very beautiful conversation today about love. I think what we're just trying to pass is, love has changed over time, but there's still unconditional love. And, it's always great to experience it. And I hope that, the viewers out there, I hope you all can actually have a chance to experience love and don't give up. Adam, do you have any last, you know, what to say?
Yeah, don't give up on love. It's still out there. I've met couples in loving relationships. It seems like it's rarer these days, but it still exists. And I've met the hopeless romantics that they want to be loved. And if you're struggling with finding love out there, feel free to reach out to Evelyn and I. Our information is down in the bio, and we're more than happy to sit one on one and work on how to find true love and how to get that person of your dreams.
Hmm.
So, if you like the video, please like, subscribe, and share it with somebody that you would find this interesting.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for another beautiful episode. And we can't wait to see you again next time. Bye for now.